My name's Gary Cavanagh, and I was born in a little village called Clayton in the outskirts of Bradford. Growing up there, it was a smallish village. We used to get the milk from the local farm just around the corner. Happy enough childhood, really. Growing up, I remember jumping for, that's what we used to call collecting wood for bonfire night, going down the Fillers, which is an area near an old quarry, going along by the beck, just doing normal things. I mean, in those days, most of the time, you were, especially in holidays, you were out of the house, you weren't allowed back in till tea time, sort of thing, or you came in for your meals, but really, that's what you did. But by the time I got to a teenager, it was, I don't know how to explain it really. I mean, I was sport obsessed. I sort of just did nothing but play football all day, and did a bit of cross-country running. But then once I got into music, around about 14, 15, that changed everything. By the time I was 16, I was going to gigs down at George's Hall. So we're talking like mid-70s, early 70s. I saw some great bands, like Black Sabbath for 50p, things like that. When I was younger, everything was Ben Sherman's and Stay Press, and I could never afford any of that. It was only when I started working that I actually got round to buying my first denim shirt and loons with big flares and high heel stacked boots and all that for a few years. Punk, a new wave came in, and that changed the direction for a lot of people. It was, something's got to change, and I around that time I was working as a volunteer at 4-5 Day bookshop, Radical Bookshop, and due to that I started becoming more politically aware of the overall political sort of position that I trained myself into through reading and participating in various struggles at the time and working through the bookshop. And through that I joined the Claimants Union, and through the Claimants Union we formed the 1 in 12 Club, which somebody had to, really, because there was nowhere for a lot of young people to go regularly and to see music, local bands and music cheaply. And there was nowhere for local bands to play regularly. So forming our own club seemed the most logical thing to do. And that's what we did in April, 27th of April, if I think I'm right, 1981. A lot of the motivation for the people who joined the 1 in 12 was the fact that we could do things for ourselves and create our own music scene, free from bouncer control and dress restrictions, and a space free from any sexist, racist and any other sort of hassle, really. And eventually we released our own cassettes, compilation cassettes of bands that had played the 1 in 12 Club, and then we released our first LP in 1983, and that was one of the pictures that was used for the back cover, and these are shots from the photo shoot for that day. Posters up there are from various venues that we worked out of. We basically struggled from venue to venue, moving around Bradford for over 7 years, until we managed to get a grant from a local government grant, a one-off payment to buy our own building, which we did, and we renovated that on Albion Street in Bradford. It took us about 2 years to strip the building down and relay the RSJ girders and the floors, repaint it, fit a bar, a gig floor, and we eventually had a cafe up in the, so 3-storey building, and then we opened in 1988, and since then we've been going. This year now is totally is the 40th anniversary of the 1 in 12 club. Our international reputation is second to none. One of the things about the club that I feel is important is our community-based independence and the way we structured ourselves around self-management. And that's one of the things that's kept us going is the range of people who get involved in the various sub-collectives. We've got collectives who do the library, we've had a drama collective who put on plays, and a record collective, a gig collective organising the events, various collectives over the years, and that broadens the appeal of the club. And generationally, young people get involved for somewhere to go. It's been there to support the youth of Bradford coming up with somewhere to go, and a lot of towns don't have something that's beyond a youth club that has a sort of radical collectivist persona that they can join and feel part of. And I think that's why a lot of youth get involved in the club. Bradford's had a radical history since the 1840s and probably before. We've had the Chartists, we've had various working class organisations growing up in Bradford. There's something in the water in Bradford that people just resist any form of tyranny that's imposed on them. And we just won't take it, so we'll fight back. I mean, we didn't realise, but one of the things about the 1 in 12 club, when we formed, we didn't realise that in the 30s we had an historical continuation of something a guy called Harry Goldthorpe set up, the Unemployed Workers Club, down the road in Quebec Street in the 1930s, at the height of the Depression. And they did similar things to us. They were a social club for all the unemployed at that time, and they were vehemently anti-fascist. Similar to the club, they run their own football team, and they did trips for the kids to the seaside. So all that was community-based, and we didn't realise that we were following on in that example till we did some research about Harry Goldthorpe and the Unemployed Workers Club. We're part of an historical tradition. I'd do it all again if I had the chance.